Hello everyone, Viktar The Barbarian here, and I am super excited because one of my favorite games of all time, Killing Floor, finally got its sequel released and out of early access. I've been playing Killing Floor 2 since the first day, actually, of early access, and the road to release certainly had its ups and downs, but the state of the game has never been better. I'm seeing plenty of people now that the game is released that are new, and they're in servers. And I also know that the game just launched on the PS4 as well. And I'm seeing a lot of smaller rookie mistakes that kind of add up. And this is even going on in some of the normal servers that I play in. I've played quite a bit of the original Killing Floor, as well as around 100 hours of KF2. And I'm here to kind of give you guys some helpful tips and tricks when you're first starting out. Something to note, this is a general all-around guide made for beginners. There's plenty of nuance in Killing Floor 2, so things like perk selection, loadout, strategies for specific maps, and Zeds will not really be covered here, but they can be covered in the future if I see large enough demand for it. These tips are more focused on getting players started and what they need to focus on, and if you're new to the game or your squad keeps wiping and you have no idea why, then this guide is absolutely for you. So the first thing to keep in mind is the pregame. Did you know that there are important choices to make before the round even starts? Here are a handful of things to kind of think about while you ready up in queue. So, first point is know what difficulty to play on. I kind of see this a lot. The general rule of thumb is if you're below level 5 on any of your perks, stay on normal. You may think that you're really good at first-person shooters, and so you'll be like, okay, so what's the hard difficulty mode? Because that's what I usually play my single-player games on. That's not how Killing Floor 2 works, specifically because higher difficulties are almost unbeatable without the advanced perks, because like almost every perk grants additional damage per level, and these bonuses start small but really add up over time. So general rule of thumb is if you're at level 5 or below, play on normal. 5 to 10, usually good for hard, sometimes up to about 15. But once you get to 15, that's when you can start going into suicidal, and then 20 and above, usually 25 is good for hell on earth. Tip number 2, know your role. So while you're in the lobby, you can change your perk and skills at any time. And during this time, just take a moment to think about what role you'd like to play or a role that your team needs. Do you want to focus more on large mobs of Zeds, or do you want to be able to seriously take down the more beefy Zeds later on? Does your team need a medic at all? Find a role that fits both you and your team. And another thing to keep in mind, it's okay to switch during the match if the need arises, but try not to get in the habit of swapping perks every round or so. And keep in mind that like 6 SWATs can easily be overwhelmed by large Zeds, but they're very good at taking down trash. And 6 demos could easily take down, say, a Scrake, but they have trouble with large groups of Zeds. So team comp goes a long way, especially on the higher difficulties. Third tip for pregame, have a game plan. Once you've decided what your role will be, take the time and think about what you want your build to be at the end of the match. I.e., I usually want an AA-12, some gun to kind of help clear trash in case the need arises, and a medic pistol. Try to stick with that plan. Money can get quite scarce in KF2, and you kind of have to budget yourself around things. So why would you buy the level 2 gun when you're not getting overwhelmed yet, and you can hit the tier 4 gun in a round? That'll save you money in the long run. Alright, so you're finally out of the lobby and you're finally in the game. That's great. Now here are some general thoughts to keep in mind while playing the game. Tip number 1, know where to shoot. Shot placement is key for almost every single class. In Killing Floor, headshots reign supreme, and the better you get at exploding domes, the better your chances of surviving to the next round. And this kind of plays into my next tip, and that's don't waste ammo. Don't just spray and pray. Aiming for heads is the smart, economical decision in the long run. And also, if you see a decapitated Zed, try not to shoot them, because decapitated Zeds bleed out over time. It's better to focus on other targets unless that headless Zed is straight up right on top of you or is blocking your way if you're trying to get away from something. Tip number 3, know the map. This one can be kind of tricky considering how many custom maps there are out there, but the better you get to know the maps, where the enemy spawns are, and where the choke points are, and where the most defensible areas are, the better off you're going to be. Tip 4, be aware. Are any of your flanks exposed? Can you hear any Zeds coming from an area that isn't currently covered? If you get caught unprepared, any player can get taken down by clots and gore fests. So get used to where Zeds usually spawn and keep your head on a swivel. Tip 5, have a plan and, more importantly, a backup plan. Okay, so your team has decided to defend this courtyard area. Great. But what happens when everyone is absolutely swarmed with Zeds? Do you have an exit strategy? What locations can you fall back to? Make sure you try to leave yourself an escape route for every situation. Next tip, and this is very important, learn to kite. Sometimes, as I just kind of explained, a situation just kind of goes tits up. It happens to everyone. It doesn't mean you're a bad player. Say you just finished off a Scrake and you turn around and suddenly there's 2 flesh pounds and they're just oh so excited to see you. Kiting can really come in handy in situations like this. And kiting is basically a tactic where you constantly move forward, clearing a path for yourself, but also chipping away at whatever the hell is following you. However, you gotta keep in mind that you can't be too focused on the rear while you're moving, because you don't want to accidentally get grabbed, puked on, or get a point-blank earful from a siren. If you can, lead the Zeds in a small circular path that leaves you with plenty of escape routes in case RNGesus decides to ruin your day. Learn to prioritize Zeds. As far as prioritizing goes, the rule of thumb is that you should target the bigger and rarer Zeds first unless trash Zeds are right on top of you. The only real exception to this are the 2 biggest non-boss Zeds, the Scrake and the Flesh Pound. Scrakes usually only rage once they've been shot at, so don't shoot at them with a pistol because you think you're helping. That'll just make everyone mad. Please don't do that. And Flesh Pounds will rage once they're in range or after a certain amount of time after they've been spotted. Next tip, know Zed's weaknesses and resistances. Did you know that Scrakes will laugh at you if you try and flamethrower them to death? Did you know that their nightmares are filled with AA-12s? Get to know each Zed's strengths and weaknesses and try to prioritize accordingly. Next tip, bashing is your friend. Bashing, which defaults to the V key, is a great way to immediately give you some much needed space from Zeds that are right in your face. Take it a little easy with the large Zeds though, because there's usually a cooldown of about 3 seconds between each time they can be stumbled by a bash. Also, there's a reminder that some attack animations can be interrupted with a bash, but things like Flesh Pounds and Rage Mode will just shrug off bashes with ease. So this one's a little more advanced, but a good tip to learn how to reload cancel. This is more of an advanced technique, but can help you save precious seconds off of your reload time. When reloading, watch your ammo counter. Once the ammo amount fills back up, regardless of whether or not the animation is finished or not, you can bash or quickly switch weapons and it will cancel the remainder of the animation. This is super helpful on classes like the Gunslinger, where you can start reloading, go get a 4-year degree, come back, and you've still only reloaded one of your pistols. Alright, next tip, weapon selection. This point is somewhat vague, but try and stay within your perks for your weapons. Most perks give damage or ammo bonuses to their respective weapons, so try not to stray away if you can. For example, yes, as a commando, the SWAT's weapons look hella sick, but you'll end up doing more damage with that AK or SCAR, especially with the perk that increases your mag size. Also, I try and keep one gun for crowd control and another for large Zeds if possible. So now that you have some of the nitty-gritty basics, try to keep in mind how your teammates are doing. There are a couple of tips to help out teammates so your entire squad doesn't wipe all at once. So the first tip is to heal your teammates. Jesus Christ, please heal your teammates, people. Health syringes heal your teammates much more than the self-heal function does. The later rounds can get really hectic if half your team wipes because nobody is fucking healing each other, so heal your goddamn team and don't wipe. Second, and this goes hand in hand with the previous point, buy a medic pistol. Medic pistols cost 200 Dosh and only take up a single weight slot. Plus, you get to shoot your teammates with healing bullets and feel like a cross between Kobe Bryant and Florence Nightingale. So getting a long-range heal is super satisfying, gives you medic XP, and can net you some extra dosh, on top of your team not wiping. Tip number 3 for teamwork: share the heat. Try to get in the habit of helping out teammates whenever possible. A good example is trying to draw aggro when there's a large Zed going to town on your buddy. So taking the heat off your teammate will give them some time to heal and get their shit together. Also, you'll be much more effective at taking down large Zeds if you coordinate as a team. Okay, last point for teamwork: remind yourself it's just a game. KF2 is a co-op game, so if you complain that somebody stole your kill, you will be laughed at. It doesn't matter who gets the most kills and who is on top of the leaderboard as long as you guys end up winning. Also, don't be a douche to your teammates. If the squad wipes because one guy goofs up and gets his shit pushed in by 3 Scrakes and 2 Flesh Pounds, yelling at him isn't going to fix anything. Hell, this will probably happen to you, and you could be the one that causes everyone to wipe. That's okay. Learn from your mistakes and just get good. Online gaming is toxic enough as it is, and the world could use more constructive criticism. And that's pretty much all I can give as far as the basics are concerned. I know it's a little lengthy, but if you keep these tips in mind, you're probably going to have a much better time playing the game. With that being said, is there anything that you guys feel I skipped over? Would you like to see class guides, tip for higher difficulties? Let me know in the comments, and leave me a like if you enjoyed the guide, and subscribe for more videos. This has been Viktar the Barbarian. Thanks so much for watching.